You know, Center for Spiritual Living, we have things that we believe in strongly. We call them our core values, and we have 7 of them. And they are love and healing and oneness and abundance and spiritual growth and service and diversity. And today we're highlighting abundance as our core value. I want to remind you again that these are not just ideas you hear about in a building, but these are practices we call on you to practice. I want to share with you something that was written by Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, in the Science of Mind textbook, The Thing That Drew Me Into This Teaching. He wrote this: "We cannot count the grains of sand on a single beach. The earth contains untold, and the very air is vibrant with power. Why then is man weak, poor, and afraid?" The Science of Mind deals with these questions. It was those words in this book that drew me into this teaching, because at that time when I first read them, I thought that money was going to be the solution to all of my problems. What I didn't realize is that consciousness was going to be the solution to all of my problems. You know, there's a difference between the facts of your life and the truth of your being. The fact may be you are broke. You're so poor you can't pay attention, as they say in the South. But the truth is, abundance is your very nature. It is your birthright, by the way. There are untold riches in the universe. There is enough to go around for everybody. No one has to choke in order for you to breathe. No one has to be lonely and loveless in order for you to be crazy in love. No one has to be sick for you to be healthy. Abundance is our true nature. It is our inheritance, and it's our core value for the day. CSL is part of a global organization with over 500 centers worldwide. We're a spiritual community that honors all religions and all faiths. And that's because we know there's no wrong way to worship. And how could there be? Whether you're lighting a candle, repeating a mantra, or offering a prayer. And so we respect and honor any way of anybody that draws us closer to Spirit. So we celebrate the diversity in religious practices with our ceremony this morning we call the Flames of Faith. The candle is lit for the Tao to honor the universal path of harmony, the natural way. The candle is lit for the shamanic traditions, honoring the belief and practices of all indigenous peoples. The candle is lit for Hinduism to honor the path of devotion and the variety of religious icons and deities. The candle is lit for Judaism to honor the path of sacred law. The candle is lit for Buddhism to honor the 4 noble truths and the way of compassion. The candle is lit for Christianity to honor and recognize the Christ consciousness that lives in all of us. The candle is lit for Islam to honor the path of peaceful submission to the will of God. The candle is lit for the universalistic religion of Baha'i to honor the path of unity. And the candle is lit for our own faith, which we call New Thought, to honor the metaphysical path and the practice of spiritual principles. And finally, the most important candle to light is the candle we light for peace and for the peaceful acceptance of all faiths and spiritual practices worldwide. All right, so it's a new month, and you know what that means around here. It means we have a new book of the month. We're lifetime learners here at CSL. That means we're students of spiritual principles. We're looking for that thread of truth that runs through every world religion and science and philosophy. And more than just studying it, we really want to apply it to our lives so that we can live better and love more and be whole and healthy. That's why we have a monthly book and why we study it. This month, our book is called Real Change. It's by Sharon Salzberg, a mindfulness and meditation teacher. Now, I chose this book because of the COVID pandemic has forced us all to go through a lot of unwanted changes, and I thought it might be good for us to talk about it and learn how to go through it without so much fear and depression that seems to be gripping so many people these days. And of course, speaking of change, you might have noticed there's changes around here at CSL. If you're with us in person, you've seen the changes on our stage. And for those of you viewing online, have we got news for you. Today we are launching multi-platform streaming, which means you don't have to just watch us on Facebook anymore. You can go to our website at cslftl.org and we live stream there, or you can watch our YouTube channel, CSL Fort Lauderdale, in real time. So we're making progress, people. Yes? We're expanding beyond our local community, want to reach more people in the world, and trust me when I say this, you are the ones that are making all this possible. So thank you for all that you give, because technology, she ain't cheap. I'm just letting you know. She is not cheap. Change is what we're talking about. Why do things have to change? Why can't everything just stay the same? That's the advice that Debbie Graham gave me when she wrote my yearbook, my high school yearbook in 1975. She wrote it, and on the first page in very large letters, "Stay the same. Stay the same." It's a fantasy, isn't it? Because we know everything's going to change. I mean, you wouldn't want to see me up here in feathered hair and bell bottoms and platform shoes. I mean, if I followed Debbie's advice, that's what I'd be wearing. I mean, it looked really cool when I graduated in 1975, walking in those platform shoes. But if I wore them all today, you ain't quite right about that, boy. Age appropriate. Those are the words my husband used when I was trying on clothes the other day. Suddenly he thinks he's my fashion advisor. So I went into the dressing room to try on what I thought looked really cool, and I come out and I say, "So, I mean, what do you think? I mean, it fits really well, doesn't it? I mean, it fits really great." And he says, "Yes, Chris, the clothes fit, but they're not age appropriate." What does that even mean, age appropriate? What does that mean? I mean, there's hardly anything appropriate about me. Why would I start to try to be age appropriate now? Everything changes, including the way you dress, thank goodness. So I want you to think about your own life for a minute and some of the changes that you've been through. Stay with me and close your eyes for just a second and bring to mind a time in your life when something changed that you didn't like, that you really didn't like. Maybe a relationship ended, you got some scary news from a doctor, somebody you love passed away. Bring to mind that time when change was forced upon you that you did not like. Okay, open your eyes. How did you react? If you're like most people, you reacted in anger or fear, or both. Those are the two common responses that we have to change when something changes in our lives. We either respond in fear or we respond in anger. Sometimes we ask ourselves, why me? You know, why is this happening to me? When the job ends, the doctor says you have cancer, or your partner says, I'm done with you, we automatically jump into victim mode. We forget everything we know about how consciousness is the only real creative element of life. We forget that we're co-creators responsible for the quality of our own lives. We forget that the universe is for us and not against us. We take it all personally, and we ask ourselves, why? Why does this keep happening to me? So today I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Here it is. Take a deep breath. This is why change keeps happening. Because it has to. Because it has to. Don't take it personally. Change is inevitable and resistance is futile, as the Borg say. But why does it have to happen? Why can't things just stay the same? Here's the real reason. Because the infinite cannot shrink to accommodate your small-minded thinking. So you have to grow to include more. Here's how it works. Change brings growth. Growth brings transformation. And transformation brings expansion. You have to expand to include a greater good because there's an infinite supply of it available to you. So am I saying that all change brings a greater good? Yes, that's what I'm saying. No matter how you feel about it, no matter what you think about it, change is the agent used for transformation. It's built into the system so that you would evolve. Evolve into what, you ask? Into a fuller expression of the divine, a more open-hearted, loving, compassionate person. Now, most people who've been challenged by some big, huge, dramatic event, like the sudden loss of somebody that you love a lot, are not going to tell you they liked it very much. In fact, change came as a very unwelcome guest. But many will tell you when they came to the other side of it, where acceptance is, many will say, I have more compassion and love for people than I ever have before in my life, having gone through that challenge myself. I had the misfortune, shall I say, of witnessing one such event several years ago. It's a horrible story, so let me warn you. A woman I know from Kansas City, when I was there as a minister, who was married to her husband for 30 years. One morning, after they had had breakfast, without saying a single word, he gets up from breakfast, he goes upstairs, he uses a belt to hang himself from the closet. She didn't know right away because she's doing things in the house. When she finally went upstairs and she found him, his body was hanging there still alive. So she pulled him down and she called 911. When he got to the hospital, she called me and I came. He was declared brain dead because of oxygen deprivation. So I sat there with her as she stared at her husband's body in complete shock as they unplugged the life support. Now, no one wants this story to play out in their lives. Nobody wants this to happen. Nobody welcomes this kind of change. So for me to be the spiritual leader, the owner of truth, for me to stand there and tell her all change leads to a greater good, and one day you'll suicide opened your heart and let you become a more loving and compassionate person. If I'd have said that to her, that would have been the most cruel thing you could ever possibly do. No matter how much sugar you put into that spoon to hold that truth, it's not going to go down well. So what did I say to her? I didn't say anything. I just sat there with her, and I held her hand, and I witnessed her pain. That's all you can do. And by the way, that's all you're supposed to do. Remember this, it's important. When you have a friend or a loved one who is going through some very tough times, do not give them your advice. Do not try to be Pollyanna and tell them, oh, there's greater good on the other side of this. Do not try to fix it. Just hold them and say, I'm so sorry. Now close your eyes again. This time I want you to bring to mind some welcomed change. Something that happened in your life that made you really happy. Really, really happy. Like a big day, you know? Maybe it's the birth of a child. Maybe it's the day you got married. It's the day you got divorced. Whatever it is, bring it to mind for just a minute. Now open your eyes. We love this kind of change, don't we? We never ask. why does this keep happening to me? You know, when something good comes along, we say, bring it on. I want more of that. So here's the thing, my friends. Here's the spiritual truth you came here to hear today. Human life is about loss and gain. In fact, it's why we came here. And it is not the creation of a cruel deity who sits afar and has some jollies bring us down here, go teeter-totter on this human life of gain and loss. It is just the human story that is often misinterpreted. Everybody welcomes the change that brings us something good, and we curse the change that takes something away from us. But listen to me, both of them are equal in value and necessary for the ongoing evolution of your soul. You see, it's not what happens to you that determines your character. It's how you respond to it. It's how we meet the change that shows us who we are. So every gain, every loss teaches a powerful lesson and gives you an opportunity to grow in compassion and love. Remember that when you gain, remember it when you lose. This book of the month, the author gives us her wisdom. She says the best way to face change is to do so mindfully, and she recommends daily meditation practice. Now, I will tell you this. This is the truth. When I find myself going through some kind of change that's really challenging, when I find myself in a situation I don't want to be in, I say to myself, open your eyes, Chris, and look around. See everything there is to see here. Learn everything there is to learn here. Know everything there is to know here. When I'm in trouble, I become hyper-conscious and super aware. I want to see everything there is to see here because I'm going to come here once. I'm going to go through hell one time. I don't mind going through hell one time, but I am not coming back here again. So I need to gather everything there is to know right here and right now. Mindfulness is the key. Meditation is the practice. Here's what the author says we gain from doing it. She said it builds resilience that can shore us up for the long haul. It helps clear our minds to make better choices. It teaches us how to be with feelings of loss, and it helps us focus our energies more productively. All of that and more are the values of meditation practice. The good news is there's an app for that. There's an app for that. After today's service, if you haven't already, go to your app store and an app called Insight Timer. It's a meditation practice app, and when you get it uploaded to your phone, you will find that CSL Fort Lauderdale has a group there. You can join us daily as we actually practice what we teach, meditation. And here's my challenge for you, 20 minutes a day for 5 days a week, minimum. And I can promise you results. All the things she says in the book are true. It will build resilience. It will clear your mind, and it will prepare you for change when it happens. I don't know if you remember this story. It happened in 2018 in Thailand. A 25-year-old soccer coach was out somewhere in the country with 12 of his players, excuse me, and their ages 11 to 16. Somehow they ventured into this cave and got stuck there, and the deep water permitted them not to go out. So they were just stuck in this cave. They had no food, no water, limited oxygen. It was a big news story, and after a few days, a Navy SEAL diver went in to try to rescue them, and he died. He drowned. So for days and days and days, they were captive in there. Finally, 18 days later, they were rescued. Now, can you imagine what the conditions were on the inside of that dark cave for 18 days? How did he keep all these boys calm for 18 days? How did he keep them from falling into fear and desperation when the hunger had to be so harsh in your stomach that it ached you and gave you pains? How did he, responsible for these young boys, buoy their faith? Well, we learned later when he came out, he taught them mindful meditation. a practice that his mother taught him when he was a young boy. He calls it my transportable tranquility because it goes with me wherever I am. Here's the quote that his mother taught him, which he said is his favorite. Tranquility is not freedom from the storm, but peace within it. I love that. I love that because it doesn't deny that the storm is coming. It doesn't pretend that everything in life is Pollyanna and everything is just going to be bunnies and butterflies all the time. Because let me tell you something. The storm is brewing out there. There is always a storm. The question is, are you prepared for it? Are you prayed up? Are you meditated up? Will you sit peacefully in the eye of the storm, knowing the truth? Or will you be one of them on the outside that is tossed around and thrown around in desperation and fear? How will you weather the storm? Will you weather the storm and come to the other side of it strong enough to take on the challenges that the storm brings? Or will you just fall right back into the victim's chair like most people do and ask, why me, God? Why does this keep happening to me? Only you can decide your fate. You are the only one who can choose your state of mind. Fear, our only enemy. I think our greatest fear, the one that resides in the minds of almost everybody on this planet, is that we've been left alone here, and we have to face our challenges alone. That somehow we've just been abandoned without support here, left to fend for ourselves. And I'm here to tell you that nothing could be further from the truth. You don't have to face life or any of the challenges that it brings alone. You are not alone. You are surrounded in love. You are guided by wisdom. The Spirit that created you is here with you. Every step of the way, you are not alone. And if you train yourself, your mind and your heart, through meditation and spiritual practice, you will be able to close your eyes and feel its presence in the room. Have faith, my friends. That which challenges you is calling you out to greatness and is waiting on the other side of that challenge, waiting for you to go through it with open arms of love. And hey, Debbie, if you're watching me today, as you can see, thankfully, I did not stay the same. And so ends the lesson. We come together to practice what we teach. We come together to be in the presence of each other, but not just that, to be in the presence of love, in a place where we are accepted exactly as we are and celebrated for the beautiful beings that God has made us to be. Let's spend some time together in quiet contemplation. Close your eyes.
I breathe out, I breathe in, I am still, I go within. When I quiet my mind, in the stillness I find. Spirit meets me there, Spirit meets me there.
It's easy to lose your faith and succumb to fear in the world. We don't know that we are surrounded by love because we can't see love. We can't see the wind either, but we can feel its breeze. Love is the core of your being. It is the purpose of your life. It is the reason you came here. It is the life energy that sustains your body. Love is what you are made of. It is the purity and perfection of your soul. It is your past, your present, your future, and your destiny. No matter what happens on the outside of your being, no matter what storm is brewing out there, there is inside this pure and perfect love. Inside here, no matter what choices or decisions have been made, there lies the wisdom of the universe. Inside here, no matter how weak you may have been or weakened by the circumstances around you, inside here is the power that creates the stars. Love, wisdom, power. It's who you are. Let's be still for 1 minute. When you go out into the world today, know this truth. That no matter what is happening on the outside of your life, with you in faith and in truth, all is well. You have the faith, the trust, the wisdom, the courage to face any challenge that comes your way. And every change that comes to your life, I promise you, will bring a greater good. And the greatest challenges bring the greatest good. And so it is.
I breathe out, I breathe in, I am still, I go within, I quiet my mind, in the stillness I find, Spirit meets me there, Spirit meets me there.
We close our service as we always do with a closing affirmation, and yours is exactly like mine. Our very own Reverend Skip wrote this. Say it aloud with me, please. My belief is anchored in spiritual truth. I no longer allow irrationality to lead my life. I walk with divine power and authority. Yeah. Let's know this together. We are enveloped in a consciousness of love and joy. It is the purpose of life itself. It is what fills the hearts of little puppies and little children. Love and joy, bringing new life into the world. It is the source of our being. It is the reason we are always healed. That is the divine authority that we stand on. Let's remember today that we are divine events taking place in real time. That's what we are. We are the consciousness of the universe experiencing itself as an individual left free by love to choose for itself. We are immanent and beautiful creations of spirit, each one entitled to the highest possible good. That is true of you, it's true of me, it's true of everyone we know. We are God incarnate, experiencing life as love. This truth, known in our hearts and souls, changes everything. It leads us from our love, it guides us from its wisdom, and we are so grateful for all of its good. And so it is. Thank you for watching, and thanks for supporting CSL. If you'd like to know more about us, check us out on our website or social media. Blessings.